Geelong and Richmond have been doing it for a long time. They did it again on Saturday afternoon, but there was some high drama that came out of it, and it surrounded one of the true stars of the competition in Tom Stewart.
Prestia running forward. Caught for rough conduct.
He's in trouble there, Prestia.
He's in a bad way, Gary. He's in a really bad way down Prestia. He's hardly moved.
And he's in a world of hurt, Tom Stewart.
It's on the ordinary end of the scale, Kingy.
Well, we've been trying to stamp this out of the game for years. We've tiptoed around it. That, for me, is a 5 or 6 weeker. It's as simple as that. You've got to take a stance. We can't have our players being carried off the ground like that when their sole focus is the footy.
When I spoke to him post-game, he said, I've just made a horrible error and I feel terrible about it. He said, I ran past the ball and I chose to bump. I didn't mean to do it, but gee, it was terrible execution and I'm going to pay the price for it.
There's so much to like about that game. We don't like to focus on the negative, but you can't ignore it. Tom Stewart is a superstar of the competition. He was, if not the best player on the ground, very close to it, and he was pivotal to the whole result. John Ralph joins us. It's gone straight to the tribunal, Ralphie. What do we expect for Tom Stewart?
Yeah, that's correct. So he apologised to Dion Prestia yesterday. Today, Tom Stewart said he felt ill about it. So Geelong is very hopeful it's a 3-week ban, a flawless character record, the fact that the grading was careless, which means it's 3+ weeks. But I think it's more likely to be 4. So we'll show you this incident, then we'll show you a couple of other precedents as well. So you consider Paddy Ryder's 2-week ban for a bump that concussed Will Day. Careless, high impact, high contact. If you get 2 for that, is it only 1 extra week for Stewart? I think then the AFL would be saying the worst penalty for a player who runs past the ball, has no play in it, hits an opponent, flushes 3 weeks. There's this 2-weeker. So I think it sits in the 4-week category. As I say, that one there, a bang-bang play. You know why he was suspended, but 2 weeks? So 3 seems unfair. And then Patrick Dangerfield, of course, got a 3-week ban for this incident. Another bang-bang play, a split-second play. So if that's 3, for me, it seems much more likely 4. But obviously, you guys are the experts.
Today on radio, the biggest issue that the general pundit has, just the feedback I got, was the careless nature of it. And that's the way it's been graded, as careless as opposed to intentional. How do you sit on that, you two?
Yeah, look, you can say intentionally, he wouldn't have set out to do it, but the fact is it does look intentional, doesn't it? And he's clearly run, I think what you said, Ralphie, there's a clear difference between those earlier incidents because it's a bang-bang play, whereas he had time to pull out of that. Yeah. It was just, for me, it was a brain snap, wasn't it? You know, and then obviously he's a clean player. We've spoken about that, a tremendous carry, all those sorts of things, but it has to be minimum 4, I would have thought, because it wasn't a great look. And I've been guilty of it before. I've done it, you know, where you've knocked blokes out and you feel ill for the rest of the game. No. But the fact is, you still did the act.
Doesn't mitigate the penalty that comes their way. So you're sitting at 4?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm the same. I think 4 probably is about right. 3's too light. 5 if they really want to send the message. But I mean, the difference is that there was no football action involved in what Tom Stewart did, whereas Dangerfield is coming into pressure, coming into tackle. The ball is so far gone from Dion Prestia's hands that it's hard to find a defence anywhere. I know Chris Scott came out and defended the character of Tom Stewart, which I think is a really important point because we don't want to assassinate the character of Tom Stewart on one action because he has been a very fair player, but it was an ordinary moment.
Yeah, and the bottom line is Dion Prestia is off the ground, going to miss that game, going to miss another week. So
the penalty, lucky it wasn't a serious injury because then we're talking 6 to 8 weeks. That's the reason Andrew Gaff would have done so much time because he broke a guy's jaw.
There's a little byproduct around this was the way that it was handled in terms of getting either stopping play and getting Dion Prestia off the ground. Now, Ralphie, I'll get your thoughts on this in a minute because I know you've been in touch with the department, but when we have a look at this sequence, and Brownie, we showed you this before, there he is here, the doctor or the trainer, whoever that is there, puts his hand up straight away. Players in the vicinity, one of them is trying to work out. Tom Hawkins goes across. The play's right there.
Yeah,
Stop
Dion
the play there.
is in the protected area.
Stop it there.
And the umpire's right there telling them to get out of the protected area. Well, guess what? He can't because he's unconscious.
That's right. And you've still got players that are in the area. The ball goes back. How they can say that is not in danger? It's gone over his head, Ralphie. And we're not making light of this. It goes over his head again. You've got a Richmond player and a Geelong player both there again. Why did they stop the game?
So a full 2 minutes, of course, until Tyson Stengel kicked the goal, and then, of course, he was able to get off. I've checked in with the AFL. They say their umpires department is comfortable with how it played out, and that the ball moved away from the stoppage. It didn't really come back.
No, it didn't.
That's what the AFL tells me. They say there wasn't a stoppage that would have allowed for the game to be stopped. They should have stopped it at the start. So that's the AFL's response. I thought, let's cut the crap. Let's go to Neil Baum. And Neil Baum says, yeah, you're right. The club was thinking about the player rather than the big picture. In hindsight, we should have absolutely taken the stretcher out, which would have officially stopped the game. 20 minutes off for Prestia, who was never coming back anyway. So he just says, yeah, that's probably on us. But all of us believe that should have been stopped straight away.
It shouldn't be up to the club to have to stop the game. You know, that was a clear mistake.
And the trainer has his hand up, so he probably can't do much more at that stage.
I was shocked when you just showed that me moments ago, because I was coming back from the earlier game, and the umpire's standing right there behind him in the perfect position.
Well, because Barmy's is a pragmatic, sensible man who says, yeah, it's our fault. To try and deny culpability. The other issue is, and this is why Richmond would be reviewing it, I would imagine, is for 2 minutes, we put the clock on it, for 2 minutes they're 17 v 18. And we have a look at the play here. Now, Prestia, obviously the midfielder, ball comes out, you will see Prestia being walked off the ground. And then have a look through the middle of the ground here. Joel Selwood was his nominal opponent in the middle of the ground. You'll see him in a minute come through. That's Selwood to your left, free. And then they're out everywhere. And they're playing, they're 17 v 18.
Yeah, in a game.
The game's decided by less than a goal. Stengel goes back, kicks a goal. So they're all the issues that have got to be addressed.
They are. So clearly there were a number of opportunities when players were taking marks to stop the game. Richmond could have done it better. I think the AFL, the umpiring department could have done it better. One has admitted it. The others said nothing to see here, which is no surprise.
Let's celebrate the game then.